नमस्कार, जया शो पर आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है। वेलकम टू द जया शो ऑन योर ओवरसीज इंडियन स्टोरी, आपकी प्रवासी भारतीय कहानी। इस मंच पर हम लेकर आ रहे हैं एक से बढ़ के एक ऐसे चुनिंदा भारतीय जिनका जन्म और जिनकी परवरिश भारत की भूमि पर हुआ, पर जिन्होंने भारत के बाहर जाकर अलग अलग देशों में अपना व्यवसाय स्थापित किया। आज हमारे बीच मौजूद हैं भारत के एक प्रसिद्ध योगा एंटरप्रेन्योर जो इस समय हांगकांग में रहते हैं। चलिए मिलते हैं श्री योगानंद अंडियप्पन से और पूछते हैं उनके प्रवासी भारतीय जीवन यात्रा के बारे में। हेलो योगानंद, इस मंच पे आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है। वेलकम टू द जया शो।
Namaskar. Thank you for having me in this show.
Yogananth, tell our audience, where in India are you from, and growing up, any experience that has shaped you who you are today?
I was born in a very remote village in the southern India near Kanyakumari, which is the Cape of Cameroon. And I grew up in that village, and I had a very traditional upbringing. All our family members are very much deeply rooted in our culture, various practices such as yoga, music, dance. So this is the environment I grew up from my childhood age. And my father was very much into yoga. He was fascinated by the therapeutic benefits of yoga. He always wanted to teach yoga to people, to enjoy the therapeutic benefits it offers. So he also brought me into this yogic practice from a very young age.
That's so good to know. But tell us about your early career days in India. Like, what did you do growing up there? How was yoga a part of your life?
Okay. So you put the question very nicely. In India, yoga is a way of life. We don't consider this as a career path, or it is not something you aspire to become a yoga teacher. It is something you bring it as a discipline in your life, and you really incorporate in your daily lifestyle activities. Generally, yoga means, the union of body and mind, but you should really understand yoga is something that you're very lucky to learn this from a guru who can introduce to this path and guide you through this path and enjoy the benefits it offers. Traditionally, yoga is always viewed as a spiritual journey, right? Everyone wants to become a practitioner of yoga if they want to seek enlightenment, samadhi, to seek the higher self practice. But there is another dimension of yoga. It can be applied to the common man, where if they want to have a healthy body, healthy mind, simple and gentle yogic practices can help you. This is the secret I learned from my father from a very young age. He was teaching yoga from young children to elderly, or people of all walks of life, all beliefs and faith, because he did not mix the religious or spiritual, representation of yoga in a daily practice. It is not necessary, because yoga as a practice is scientifically proven. It has proven to be effective for various physiological and psychological disorders. So he wanted to take that message to the people and want to spread the benefits of yoga to any means possible. So he used to write articles in the newspaper and give TV programs, radio shows, talking just about how yoga can help prevent, address, and even cure some of the ailments in our body. So I grew up in this environment. I have seen myself, people's lives completely transformed, where they are suffering from various illnesses and they begin yoga practice. Within a matter of days to weeks, they enjoy the positive health through this yogic practice. Now, this started from our family. So my father lived in a yogic lifestyle. We start a day early morning, 4 o'clock, and we have a very disciplined lifestyle where we do our morning routine. Then he enjoys music. So I learned mridangam when I was a young boy, and my sister plays piano. My mom plays violin. My father sings. So we sing all of these Tamil songs. And my father also writes songs about the benefits of yoga. So he just wants to bring yoga to people in the way they enjoy this practice. So he writes music.
My question now to you is that you grew up in that amazing yoga environment. And then why did you not stay in India? What motivated you to take a decision of going out of the country? That was one. And then how come you chose to be and, to think of entrepreneurship outside India?
Okay, good question. So as more and more people enjoy the practice of yoga, they really want to share these benefits with others as a form of teaching. And some people wanted to make a living. So my father launched all these professional degree courses in yoga, which includes bachelor's, diploma, postgraduate diploma, up to master degree in yoga. And when you have such qualification, you're recognized for your knowledge, skill sets, and your talents to teach yoga to others. Now, we may not look yoga this way, but this actually works. It can be a practical approach to have someone taking yoga as a path, career path, and improve in this path. So for myself, I was offered a teaching opportunity in Hong Kong. So the person who wants to hire a yoga teacher, he visited our school in India. And we recommended many teachers who used to work for us and say, please take one of the teachers, bring them to Hong Kong, and they can also be teaching yoga to the people of Hong Kong. But then he saw me, he saw the potential in me. He said, if I want to bring a rich tradition like yours, you'll be the right messenger, the ambassador to carry the tradition of your father and bring it to Hong Kong. So I was only 20 and a half back then in early 2003s. So he invited me to Hong Kong. And that was my way coming to Hong Kong. So I really did not plan to come to Hong Kong. It was not a vision that I had. I want to travel abroad and I want to teach yoga, because in India, I was managing 4 to 5 franchisee centers of our school. So I go every day, visit all these schools, and I teach classes. And that was already a busy lifestyle for me. So this is something I enjoyed doing it. And I was under my father's umbrella. So he was guiding me whenever I need guidance in my teaching, in my practice. So coming to Hong Kong was a big shift in my life, I have to say. It was during the peak of SARS. So my mom was not very willing to send me to Hong Kong at the peak of SARS, but my father said, time has come, you are needed in Hong Kong. People in Hong Kong needs to know about the health benefits of yoga. So why don't you go and spread this message?
So you came to Hong Kong, you were 20 and a half.
Yes.
And you started working with some fitness company, or was it like a studio? What was it?
So this was the first large-scale yoga studio in Hong Kong. Until then, yoga was always taught in a fitness center, slimming centers, beauty parlors. So it was never a health practice.
And how long did you work as a yoga professional in Hong Kong?
So I started back in 2003. So I worked for this company called Planet Yoga in the year 2003 for 1 year.
Okay. And then from there, what was the journey?
And then I moved on to another company, which is also one of the biggest brands in Hong Kong and all around Asia. They are called Pure Yoga. So I worked for Pure Yoga for another 4 years, where I had all of the training of how to run a yoga studio. Because in Planet Yoga, I had the training of how to become a successful teacher. How can I establish myself as a teacher? So that studio provided me all the opportunities, the platform that I needed to expose myself as a teacher. But Pure Yoga was in the beginning, early stages. They wanted to expand to all over Asia. So I was part of the admin team, consulting, with various training their staff, the teachers, doing some road shows, marketing events. So I was part of that team. So I had a really good exposure of what it takes to become a studio owner or a yoga school, what it takes to run a yoga school in Hong Kong.
So then at what age and after how many years you decided to make a shift from professional to entrepreneurship in Hong Kong?
So in the very early stage when I came to Hong Kong was not ready to receive yoga as a form of therapeutic practice. To them, yoga was just merely a sport, a hobby, an activity to just kill time, meet friends. So the market was not mature enough to understand the yoga therapy and its benefits. So it took me at least 3 or 4 years to pass that message to the students who were regularly following me. And through my classes, I would emphasize yoga is not just about moving, bending into different postures. You can actually heal and address various conditions in your body. So I had this training with my father from my very young age. So I particularly explained the therapeutic benefits of yoga to whoever was interested to know about this. And a lot of students saw that progress in their body, physical and mental state. So it was very motivating for them to actually learn yoga as a therapeutic practice, yoga to bring yoga into their lifestyle.
And
It is
did these students become your first client when you decided to set up your studio?
so these are students who really loved the approach of yoga as a therapeutic practice. So they supported me in the path of setting up my own studio, where we call that Anahata Yoga. So you can see the logo behind me. So Anahata is the heart chakra, and Anahata Yoga represents yoga, teaching yoga from the heart, yoga that works, yoga that is tailor-made for you, yoga that fits your lifestyle, yoga that fits your body's limitations. So this is the meaning of yoga from the heart. So you teach with care, you teach with an approach of healing.
Okay. So here, I'll say a bit in Hindi for a lot of audience actually who want to hear it in Hindi. That आप हांगकांग एक टीचर योगा टीचर की तरह गए, फिर उसके बाद आपने अपना अगला जर्नी जो है एक ऐसी कंपनी में किया जहां आप एडमिन और मैनेजमेंट कर रहे थे, वहां से आपने बहुत सारे बिजनेस के तरीके सीखे और यहां से शिफ्ट हुई आपकी टीचर से एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की यात्रा। यानी फ्रॉम टीचिंग, from being a yoga teacher, you learned all these management techniques, administrative techniques, many other things that enables you to become a good business person. And then you decided to switch to entrepreneurship. But my next question to you is, Hong Kong is a really expensive place. How did you manage to make that switch? Where did you get your first funding from? Did someone help you in the journey, or you had managed some saving? How did you go about the process?
Yes, certainly a yoga teacher's salary in Hong Kong is not enough to build a business. So you need the support of people who love yoga, who have enjoyed the benefits of yoga. So I was lucky enough to be introduced into Hong Kong in the very early stages. So I had a good following of students who comes to my class regularly. They understand the need of this style of yoga to be taught to the people of Hong Kong. So they really supported the idea of having to set up a studio and then teach yoga as a therapeutic practice for people of all age groups. So when I first had this idea, it was just an idea. So when I explained to some of the students, they really supported this idea. And then back then, Anahata Yoga was not just a yoga studio. It was a consulting company. It's a management company where we consulted for many studios. And we thought we can actually bring the existing yoga studios into this approach of yoga practice. But it was very difficult for them because most studios were doing what is more popular. Hot yoga was very popular. Vinyasa was very popular. These are styles that cannot be tailor-made, that cannot be taught to an elderly or people who are injured. So there came a need that I had to set up my own setup and make it a place where people can come and train and get trained in this type of yogic approach, where it can be passed on to different teachers from different traditions.
So the setup funding, did you take a loan or did you get help from family and friends? How did you do the seed funding for your company?
So I was lucky enough to meet my wife in Hong Kong. She was into marketing and marketing, and she knows how a business runs, what it takes to run a business in Hong Kong. So she had friends who are also interested in this idea. They are also investors who invest in many other businesses. So we presented this idea to them. So I had the support of my student and also my family member and also friends referred by my wife.
Okay, so Anahata yoga, your entire studio got started with all the help that you just mentioned. And then from there, tell us a little bit about the milestone of your company. What exactly does it do? And, how did you get your, I understand some clients came with you, but how did you market your studio to get established as a separate brand in a place like Hong Kong, which, as you're mentioning, already had some yoga studios running?
Right. So when we first started the studio, as any new studios, it was very difficult to get members on board and to meet the overheads of the business of the studio. So it was challenging in the beginning, but I live and breathe yoga all my life. It's not like I have another option or another business, or I can just switch to another business. So this is something I really want to try. and in an entrepreneurial spirit. I want to prove myself. I'm not just only good at teaching yoga, but I'm able to build a place where it can serve more people in the years to come. And also I've been, I always had this mindset whenever I go and I talk to people who come across where I come across daily life, I always tell them about the idea of yoga as a practice that can be beneficial for you. So I used to go to various banks, corporates, to explain to them about this practice of yoga. So a lot of people were very fascinated by listening to this approach of yoga, and they would come to the studio for a trial class. And in our studio, we first had this approach of us recommending the students the classes they should choose. Most of the time, if you go to a studio, you end up choosing a class that may not be suitable for you, that may not be according to your level. Maybe you have an injury, that class is not the way you should start your yoga practice. So we had an approach of guiding the students and telling them, or showing the classes that can be suitable for their body. And then we also we are the first studio to start the private classes in Hong Kong, one-to-one sessions. So we started one-to-one yoga therapy sessions where we teach individuals according to their physical and mental challenges they face. We designed the yoga as a tailored program for them. So this gained traction.
Okay, so you also have a lot of private classes running besides your group classes.
That's right. So Hong Kong is a very fast-paced city, right? People don't have time. Sometimes they want some flexibility in their time. They travel and they want to have some flexibility. So these private classes are the very first attraction we gained in our yoga school, where people came and learned yoga therapy. When they saw the real results, they referred their friends, family members. So we have a lot of family members coming to our studio together. The husband will bring the wife will bring the children, their friends. So that shows that they really enjoyed the practice and they really want this practice to be a healthy practice to the people of their family. Yes.
So a lot of word of mouth kind of marketing works for your business, I understand.
Yes.
So
certainly.
Is it a very heavy capital investment business, or no, with someone, a young person with a limited capital can also run a studio in Hong Kong? How does it work? I'm curious to understand, and so would our audience, how easy or difficult is it for, let's say, a 20-year-old or 20, like you when you came? How easy or difficult would it be for someone from India to come and establish a studio like yours in Hong Kong? What are the things he or she look out for?
Sure. So basically, this Anahata yoga was, I have to say, it's our third child. The first two, the child we didn't give birth to the child because there was an idea where we tried to initiate that project. The rental was so high, we couldn't find the right location, and the way we want to bring yoga to Hong Kong was really challenging because a therapeutic approach is a one-to-one session or smaller groups. Whereas back then, the studios had very large numbers. You can have 80 to 100 students in a class. Think about a class with 100 students, and then you are opening a studio and say we will have 10 to 15 students in the class. It was a huge, challenge for us. And then the good thing about yoga studio, if you want to open an exclusive yoga studio, you don't need big investment in machines. If you're opening a fitness center, you have to invest in a lot of, machines and stuff. Whereas yoga, you just need to get a qualified, experienced yoga teacher. And also with yoga studios, the only drawback is, of course, the rent and the first time renovation of these studios. People enjoy the ambience, the peaceful ambience that you can bring in a yoga setup. Other than that, in Hong Kong, of course, the shower facilities, locker facilities, changing room facilities, these are something people see that as a luxury in a yoga setup. There are studios very well known for their luxurious surroundings, but our studio is not well known for that, approach. But we do have a good practice studio with very highly experienced and qualified teachers, and they would teach the yoga that works for you. Yes.
So what is the size of your operation? How big is your studio? How many people are employed? And are you just in Hong Kong, or are you also outside Hong Kong now?
So up until COVID, we are just a one studio location. We are right at the heart of the city. Within a few minutes, you can reach all of the major locations in central Hong Kong. So people enjoy this convenience, the access to this location. A lot of expats, people who live in central mid-level area come to our studio. And for us, if you are talking about the reach of the clientele, post-COVID, we started teaching online classes. So we are having students from around 30 countries practicing with us every day. So I have to say, we are now everywhere. Students from any part of the globe can simply sign up for an online class and join our classes and start immediately. So the yoga of the past decade has completely changed to this decade because the online classes, online mode of teaching, using technology to bring this to people's homes has become the new normal of people's lives. So we were very fast in the early stages of COVID to quickly adapt this technology. And I love technology. I've learned computer science. I code my own websites, apps. I also enjoy doing, working with technology. So we also built a platform that offers pre-recorded classes, live stream classes to the members who are interested to study with our teachers. So this is something I believe is very important. In today's time, you need to learn to evolve. You need to use technology to build your base and reach more people, and also make sure that if people are not able to travel to you, what other options you give them, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, nothing replaces face-to-face learning, but these are options where people do enjoy practicing yoga at home or wherever they travel. So this flexibility we give for all our classes. So although we are a one studio location, we are now teaching students in over 30 countries.
That's great. So tell us a little bit about your initial challenges that you faced as a young entrepreneur trying to, build Anahata yoga. And as you said, this was your third baby. So what were the different challenges? What which actually made you reinvent your business? And now that you're also doing the online business, I'm sure those also come with their set of challenges. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So Hong Kong is a very highly competitive market. So although we teach yoga, the people who puts money behind this yoga business, they are not in the same thought process like a yoga teacher. So to them, it's purely money invested and returns gained. So it can be challenging for a yoga teacher to strike a balance between how much is a commercial process and how much is it you really want to teach yoga as a discipline and philosophy. So this balance is the challenge I initially struggled with, because you have people who trusted you and put your money in for your studio, and you really need to make sure that their money and investment is safe. On top of that, you are here for a mission and a vision to bring yoga to people's lives, accessible to all. So this something has to make a balance. So the first two projects we tried failed because I was not able to understand these two balance. I was becoming too yogic. I wanted to teach yoga for free. I wanted to bring in anyone who is interested in yoga. They may not be able to afford the package membership, but I was so happy that I can introduce yoga to their lives. But from the commercial setup, it didn't work. So there was two occasions we started and we tried to, bring up the business, but because it was not in the way, I was not trained in the business side of the studio, I didn't have any idea how the thing runs. But later I involved more and more on the business side of the process. Then I understood what it takes to keep the front end running. So you need to know the back end. And in order for the back end to know what is happening in the front end, they also need to learn and study yoga. So they understand why people come to a yoga class. Why do they pay that much money for a private class? So this is something the back end and the front end people to work in coordination. Okay. And on top of that, when it comes to yoga as a business, it is something you have to passionately do many things with long-term vision. So what I think one of my positives, I would say, which I learned from my father, is always thinking long-term. Okay, you may have experienced a failure, but this is the learning. So go for the next one and learn to understand what was the mistakes you did in the past and make sure you don't repeat that again. So you keep on going with the next opportunity you get. Mm-hmm. You'll be very surprised. I was one of the teachers in Hong Kong who got sued 3 times, right? So the first studio which hired me, when I left them, there is a clause in Hong Kong called non-compete. You are not allowed to go and work for the competitor. But Hong Kong was so small and they had a class which is of a wide area, I basically have to leave Hong Kong if I have to find another studio to teach. So then so we had to go to the court. We have to fight it out. So that was more challenging for me than running a studio, because that took a lot of my time, effort, money, resources to fight that case. Ultimately, we won the case. The judge said that the clause is too unreasonable, and yoga teachers are doing that for their livelihood. So this is not something that can be enforced in Hong Kong. So obviously, the second studio that hired me, who defended my position for the first time, also end up suing me for the same clause when I left them. So I got sued again for the non-compete, saying that you can't teach in Hong Kong. So I have to fight that case again, and then see the end of it. And then I opened the Anahata studio at the end. So in Hong Kong, because of this such a small area, these businesses struggle if you are going to open studios. So the first studio that I joined, there was at least 20 studios in next across buildings and the streets. So there are so many studios packed so tightly together. Each and every studio was trying to compete and target the same clientele. So this is something was.
How did you differentiate your product?
Basically, no one was offering what I was skilled in, what I was offering. So I was not trying to compete with them. I'm not trying to say I offer a better hot yoga class, I offer better vinyasa class, I can bend more than other teachers. That was never my way of approach of teaching. It's about yoga as a therapeutic practice, yoga as a tailor-made practice. And it is a long-term vision, because people don't see results in day one. You go enter a hot room, you feel the heat, it works. You have paid the money, you feel the heat. But yoga therapy is not going to be instant, it's a long-term. So you really need to motivate the students to stay in this path for some time. So when they see the result, they really think yoga is going to work for them for the rest of their lives. It is not something they practice for a year or two and then they give up and end up doing another activity. So we ensure that yoga is blended in with their other activity they do. Let's say you play golf, you play tennis, you come across various injuries in your body. So how yoga can help prevent and also rehabilitate these injuries in your body. So this is something, it needs knowledge, it needs experience, it needs long-term vision. It also needs support from the investors who will need to believe in this vision and to make it work.
So now my next question is, how many people do you employ in your yoga studio? And are you employing Indians or are you employing locals? How does your system operate?
Sure. So for teacher side, we have a lot of experienced Indian yoga teachers from India. So they are all trained in my father's school in the same therapeutic traditions. And I do invite teachers from other traditions like Satyananda tradition, Shivananda tradition, because at the end of the day, we are in Hong Kong and we want to promote the traditional lineages of yoga in India. So although I'm happy to teach the tradition that I represent, I also invite the teachers of other traditions to teach classes in our studio. But I've been in Hong Kong for 20 years. And there are so many students who have been following me for more than 10 years, 15 years, and I've trained them to become teachers. And they are all successfully teaching in Hong Kong. Many of them teach in our studio. They study our teachers training courses. They get certified, and they are put into a volunteer teaching for some time. And then we hire them as a teacher where they teach in our studio as a successful teachers. Yeah.
I see. So what is your future plan now on your business front, on your personal front? How are you going to take this forward?
So the future plan is now what we need to do is from the commercial part of the yoga setup, it has its own footing in Hong Kong. So people understand the difference between other studios and Anahata yoga. Now, this is something I consider is a major breakthrough, both in yoga industry and also in my life, because this is why I came to Hong Kong. And I believe that to some extent, I have fulfilled my vision of my father. And I wanted to keep continuing to doing this and to bring the therapeutic benefits of yoga to people in Hong Kong or even in China. But my interest now is to do more yoga research and studies, how yoga can help heal various conditions in our body, and also to bring the yoga to the common man who cannot afford a membership, who don't have access to such studios, which are very expensive for a common man to access yoga. So we've started an NGO in Hong Kong in 2015 with the help of my students, the teachers training graduates. And this NGO will reach out to various charities in Hong Kong and bring the benefits of yoga to them, which includes financially disadvantaged people who live $5,000 below monthly income. We also serve people elderly, which is the neglected part of the community in Hong Kong, where they have so many conditions in their body that can be addressed through gentle, simple, therapeutic yoga practices. And then we also cater to children. This is also very important in Hong Kong. Post-COVID, children, they are stressed, they have depression issues, anxiety issues, they have, emotional disorders. So we bring yoga as a practice in schools, in government schools, and also bring yoga awareness camps in places where we have access to children. Mm-hmm. And then we also reach to some charities that supports, the immigrants in Hong Kong, and also the, single parents family, crisis families. So these are people who really, yoga can really make a help in their life. And not only that, so this is something we started from 2015, and this is gaining traction as well. Now, many charities want to work with us and bring the benefits of yoga to their beneficiaries. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, Yogananth, looking back now, go take yourself back 20, 25 years. What would you have done differently if you were to come to Hong Kong now? Is there anything you would like to do differently?
So many people think 20 years is too young for someone to come to Hong Kong and work. I wish I came when I was 15, because I was all ready back then, because I learned yoga all my life. I started yoga at the age of 2. So I was in this tradition and practice, assisting my father in my very early stages. So if someone brought me to Hong Kong, when I was 15, I would have done more. But it's never too late. Age is just a number. And I would say, as I practice yoga, I believe I will have a long, healthy life. So I have no rush to do anything, finish anything. So I have a clear vision, and I'm going to go towards that direction.
That's amazing. And look at your entire entrepreneur journey. How much would you attribute your success to luck vis-a-vis hard work?
It's funny you ask this question, because the word yoga means luck. Yogam means you are lucky. So I believe me coming into yoga is already, I'm very lucky. I had a father, I had a mother who are yoga teachers, who deeply, passionately love yoga, teaches yoga, not for monetary benefits. So I was very lucky to have my parents as yoga teachers who guided me into this path. Mm-hmm. And of course, I was very lucky to have students who understands, the vision I have, and who supports me through my early, Hong Kong years, and still supporting me with all of the, ideas I come up with. So this is something I consider I'm very lucky. But luck is not the only thing you should be, rooting on. It is something you should have a strong vision, and you should always work towards that goal, right? So you don't wait for luck to come to you. You don't hope that somebody will come and knock your door and bring you to Hong Kong. This is not I had in any of my days planned in India. Every day I wake up at 4, I go back to bed at 8. That was my routine from my very young age up until the last date I come to Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. So I would say that discipline brought me a certain level of disciplines in my life, which I was able to come to Hong Kong and stay focused in that mission. Because Hong Kong is an international city. So when you come here, you can see how much you can get distracted, because Hong Kong is a financial city. You can get distracted in many ways. But being in yoga, you are representing the tradition, the family values, the cultural values that you believe back in India. So this is what I would say challenging for new entrepreneurs coming to Hong Kong who wants to start a business, because this is something you have to be very focused in your path.
So that takes me to the next question. What would your advice be to a 22-year-old who's looking to establish a business like yours and decides to come to Hong Kong? What would you say he or she should look out for?
Good. So if it is about yoga, I will certainly say practice and live in this discipline, and have a guru who can guide you in this path. who can give you all the help you need for your answers, your doubts that you get, in this practice. And always, life is all about constant learning. You never finish learning anything. So keep a mindset of constantly learning from your mistakes, from your daily life events that happens around you. And if you are talking about other businesses, I would say try to be the best in what you do. Put all your effort. You have to live, breathe, sleep, wake up thinking of that particular mission of your life. This is something I understand goes against the principles of yoga. Yoga is all about letting go. But when it comes to bringing the benefits of yoga to others, to a common man, which can really change people's lives, you have to have a tapas. A tapas means a burning desire. In yoga, we have a term called tapas. And that burning desire is to share my experience, benefits, knowledge of yoga to people around me, so they can have a healthy, happy life. And I would say that much of vision for me is a positive thing. Yes.
Okay. So are you ready for our fun question round now? I'm
Yes.
going to ask you a few questions about your expat life in Hong Kong, that also roots back to India. So tell us, as an Indian, successful Indian entrepreneur in Hong Kong, how do you give back to India?
So I have brought over 200 yoga teachers out of India so far. So every time a studio approach me and they say, how can I find a teacher like you? We really want to bring in this yoga therapy class, but we don't know where to find teachers. I immediately refer them to our teachers back in India. So over 200 teachers are working not only in Hong Kong, in different parts around the world. Every day I get requests from many studios who would want me to refer yoga teachers to them. This is something I consider giving back. And secondly, yoga as a practice, when people love yoga, they want to go back to India. They want to study in the roots. They want to visit India, experience the culture, and they want to practice yoga in the most authentic way. So the better job I do here will motivate people to go to India and study there from a school or a yoga setup. And that brings, tourism to India. Now,
Wow.
yoga is a big business around the globe. And I think India can do so much to bring the benefits of yoga to the people. It has already done so much, but we can do more. And if it needs any contribution from my side, I'm always there available to help bring that, back to India. Yes.
Wow, that's really consistent with Prime Minister Modi's wish of Chalo Bharat Abhiyan, where he is, making a request to all the overseas Indians that whether you send, money or not, doesn't matter, but you make sure you bring back 5 of your non-Indian friends to visit India. And I'm sure you're doing way more than that, actually.
Yes.
That's
We also
amazing.
organize retreats every year where I bring my students to India, take them to all of the heritage sites where they see the history of yoga. They practice in different schools, interact with different teachers, and they really enjoy the Indian atmosphere, attending Indian wedding, yoga competition in India, visiting many places. So this we do as a regular basis every year.
You're certainly a brand ambassador for India then.
Thank you.
That's a great initiative. Okay, so the next question. As an Indian in Hong Kong, what are you most proud about India right now?
It's all the family values I carry, the tradition I really enrich, tradition that I really deeply respect, and the Guru Shishya tradition, having these, the family, the family living together, supporting each other. These are something I really deeply value as an Indian. Yes.
How do you keep yourself connected with your roots back in India? Any particular hobby or any particular interest that you pursue in Hong Kong that always keeps you so rooted to your motherland?
Like I said, I learned drums, mridangam. So every time I miss India, I will take my drums and play. And of course, I still love eating, cooking Indian food. I visit any new Indian restaurants that are opened in Hong Kong. I will visit them and I will be the first one to taste their food and see if it is authentic, if it is something that I would like to, go back. And apart from that, music is in my family. So I listen to Indian music. I enjoy listening to music that has a message, that has a deep, literature. So this is something I enjoy. Yes.
So which is your most favorite restaurant in Hong Kong that you would recommend Indians to definitely go to?
Okay. So I recommend this restaurant because of two reasons. One is this restaurant was opened the same day I arrived in Hong Kong.
Oh,
And it's been in my life all these 20 years. So one is Bombay Dreams. This is in Central, and it's loved by not only Indians, but also by the locals. I bring my students there all the time. And Bombay Dreams serves one of the authentic food, and they also have a vegan option. So I'm a vegetarian, and any opportunity I get, I want to eat a vegan diet. So this is something I also like, where they serve the vegan menu.
okay. One memory of India that's very precious to you.
Yes. So when I was young, I always go with my father to visit various temples. While people rush inside to see the god in the temple, my father always took me around the temples, where in the pillars of the temple, you see all these yoga statues. So we witnessed this history of yoga, how yoga was recorded in our history, where you see all these beautiful yoga carvings and statues around the temples. This is something I greatly miss, and this is something that is still in my memory. During my practice, these statues comes to my vision, and then I remember these days where I visit these temples and have this. So my father and I visited this a lot of temples, and we create our own yoga poses whenever we see yoga poses in the temples.
Oh, wonderful. And which is your most favorite place to visit in India?
The Cape of Cameroon, Kanyakumari beach, where you can see the sunrise and set, is a beautiful place to visit. Yes.
Thank you so much, Yogananth, for coming to our show. आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me in this show. And I hope my message has inspired some people to become an entrepreneur, to become a yoga teacher, and also study the therapeutic benefits of yoga. Thank you.